What is something that your generation did that no younger generation will ever get to experience? Downloading stuff for an hour then getting cut off at 99% because some idiot decided to pick up the phone. Remembering your friends' phone numbers in your head. I can still remember a handful of phone numbers from friends when I was a kid, and having to wait to see if the pictures you took came out actually turned out okay. Edit. Forgot a word, Nosaroo's copyright airing. Watch MTV when it showed nothing but music videos, artist interviews and concert footage. Rewinding movies in the VCR, and then having a whole separate appliance to rewind them slightly faster. Experience the transition from dial-up to high-speed internet. Holy crap. Listening to your sister talking to her crush on the phone with the other wired phone. Burn a CD. I used to spend hours strategically picking 16-20 songs to listen in the car that month on my way to school. Going out on your bike Saturday morning to go play with your friends. Your parents yell, "Just be back for dinner time." As you pedal away, you go to your friend's house. You learn that they have already headed out. You must now find them. This is normal. You must now decide where in the 3 or 4 mile radius they have likely gone to hang out. This will be based on several factors like weather, last week's current hotspot, who's just got some pocket money to spend etc. So you take a best guess and pedal across town and down into the country lanes to that spot with the good bike jump. It's a bust. Never mind. You got to take a few practice jumps without the pressure of failure. You travel roughly 3 or 4 miles until you get it right. The elation is real. There is a group buzz when a friend has successfully found and joined the group. You feel like a tracker hunter for a bit. Group shenanigans resumes. No one films it. You return home 8 or maybe 9 hours later. Sweaty, bruised, muddy and hungry. No one worried. They are pleased you are home in time for burger and chips in front of the TV to watch the A-Team as a family. Edit. Thanks for the gold. Glad this is bringing back memories for people. Edit 2. As this has taken off and people seem interested. This is the radius we used to roam in. All the stupid we all do in high school, without social media to commemorate it forever. Switching to channel 3 to be able to play Nintendo. Record songs off the radio onto cassettes. Call a parent collect just to hurry up and say what you needed when prompted to leave your name. You have a collect call from "Hey mom, pick me up from the mall." Roller skating as a mainstream activity. Large, dimly lit rink with smoke machines, lights, and a disco ball. Refreshments sold, including food, soft drinks, and even beer for the adults. An arcade section. Tons of people there. Loud 80s synth pop. And everything was decorated in earth tones. The total joy when the Sears toy catalog came out before Christmas. Calling movie phone late at night so your friends could call you without your home phone ringing. Having to call your crush's home phone and their parents answering. Embarrassing bonus when you don't know they're a junior. So when you ask for them by name, you get a reply speaking. Not being able to use the phone while on the internet, purposely pissing your siblings off by picking up the phone while they're on the internet. Calling your parents from a payphone to come pick you up when your movie was over. Beat it to the underwear section of a Sears catalog. Edit. Memory lane. Playground rumors, myths in video games. I feel like they still exist, but to a much smaller degree. Only thing from recent memory I can think of is Herobrine from Minecraft. But back in the day, man, every game you played had like 6 rumors surrounding it. Secret codes, weapons, levels, you name it. It like Mew hiding under the truck in the old Pokemon games. A fabled code to make Lara Croft naked. Bigfoot hiding in the woods in GTA, San Andreas. The secret cow level from Diablo. The list goes on. Remember having a computer room? Saturday morning cartoons. Most everything is online now, and even if the choice wasn't available, there are entire channels dedicated to cartoons all day, every day. There's no kid today waking up at 6 AM to watch Saturday morning cartoons when the internet sits there as an ever-expanding library of entertainment. Being not available before mobile phones. If you wanted to talk to someone you had to find a landline and hope they were actually in or go round their house. Now, it's all instant messaging in its many forms, with the sender expecting an instant reply. On the same theme, I miss not having clearly defined working hours. Back then, if you wanted to talk to me about work stuff, you'd have to do it on Monday to Friday, 9 AM to 6 PM. Now, I get work emails and phone calls every day of the week, 24 hours a day. People seem to have lost that sense of boundary and seem to think it's okay to pester me at 8 PM on a Sunday night. Get away with tons of shenanigans in college because there weren't cameras everywhere. Take a roll of film in to get developed. Youth today will never know the satisfaction of hearing the subtle snap sound of taking a flash photo with a disposable camera, or the excitement and anticipation of waiting for your roll of film to get developed to see if the pics you took were any good or not. Experience the chaos that was Kazaa and Limua. P2P file sharing like that was such a gamble all the time. I remember looking up an artist I liked and seeing a song name I didn't recognize and downloading it with excitement only to realize that it either was a song by another band or a song I already knew but the person just gave a different name. Movies was an even bigger gamble because a lot of the time you would end up with porn instead of the movie you wanted. It was the Wild West days of internet pirating and you just never knew what to expect. Some of the tapes I made are 50 years in my past but I still remember the playlist order. Today I'll hear a song on the radio that I recorded back then and expect the next song as it was on my playlist. Crazy. Downloading porn pics on dial-up internet. The suspense as it slowly loaded the pics from top down was exhilarating. Literally took about 2 minutes per picture. After a while though it was tedious. You literally got to a point where you were like, duck it. Where is the target catalog? Finish off on the lingerie section. Get tangled up in the phone cord while trying to talk on the phone in the kitchen. Taking our bikes out in the morning. Being gone all day and then being home again when the streetlights came on. We would just spend all day exploring the trails across town and hanging out by the creek. It's definitely some of my fondest memories of being a kid. Remembering and dialing phone numbers. To this day I still remember my best friend's phone number, my neighbor's number and random friends I was just acquaintances with. Now, I literally have to look up my wife's cell phone every time I need to enter her shopper card in before I buy groceries. Being able to go into the cockpit of a commercial airline and have the pilot show you the controls. You have died of dysentery, in green text. Renting video games at Blockbuster. To an 8-year-old, that row of Nintendo and Sega games was like Dorothy entering Oz for the first time. 4 hours blank VHS tapes. You tape some film that was on TV, and then some time later, you find out some other film is going to be showing and you want to record that. How do you figure out how much time is left on the tape? Math? Nope. You look out the window and the little notches will tell you how much time is left on the tape. Those were the days. Change a typewriter ribbon. Schedule free time to watch favorite shows on TV. Having to write papers without the help of the internet. Remember those cassettes? It happens that the band gets out of its case, so fixing it with a pencil. Calling a potential girlfriend and having her father answer the phone. Wait hours days for the opportunity to watch porn on the single family computer in the household. Save files and information on a floppy disk. The ones they gave us at school were always bright yellow or red. Finding a box of porn magazines in the woods. Leave the house and not be trackable. Parents now have location sharing apps and GPS in cars. My best high school memories were made when my parents thought I was somewhere else. The period when the internet was not a thing and then a fairly big thing. The rise of mobile phones etc. Growing up with the before and after is quite interesting. Camp out overnight for concert tickets. When rolling up the window literally meant rolling up the window. Have sex with relative, not with relatives. Abandoned because girls were on the pill and the worst STD around was the clap which was easily fixed if you got it. I never did. Thank goodness. 1977 to around 1982. Playing with mercury from a broken thermometer. I wonder if that's why I get short-term memory loss sometimes. Playing with mercury from a broken thermometer. I wonder if that's why I get short-term memory loss sometimes. Watching scrambled satellite porn. Gifting mixtapes as a sincere symbol of friendship. 90s to early 2000s internet browsing. Basically, before YouTube, there was so much variety of websites you went to besides the main 3 or 4 social media ones now. The navigation and website layout design was terrible, and pop-ups were inexcusable. But the internet was so new and mysterious. They haven't decided on what layouts were the best yet. There was no bootstrap, only sidebar buttons with vague names. GeoCities anime fan pages where your cursor changed and sometimes there'd be a MIDI playing in the background. It was considered good etiquette to have a play button visible on the site, as well as defaulted to paused when the site loaded. It was like visiting a friend's room, where you kinda had to abide by their rules for the time you were there. Oh, and of course addicting, accessible, often crudely violent flash games that were all about the game or stick fight animation, as opposed to getting kids wanting to spend money. There's just something about amateur games that I love that nothing I've played in the App Store can ever really make me feel. Homsterina. I know it's all there and still viewable now, but when things were updating, part of the experience was that you never knew what, or more accurately, when, the brothers chaps were going to give you. 20 to 30 underage kids openly drinking hanging on the corner. Calling the time and temperature phone number. That was the second phone number I ever memorized, after my own. Needing to switch between video games and TV. Rewind a cassette tape by spinning it on a pencil so as to save batteries, or flipping the tape over in your fake Walkman and fast forwarding, then flipping the tape back over because your fake Walkman doesn't have an actual rewind button. Have a DVD and VHS built in one. Connect to the internet via dial-up. Staying up late to watch Girls Gone Wild commercials. Cabinet-style TV sets. Listening to that Barbara Bush story hour on the radio with the Muppets on Friday night while eating at a drive-in. Calling time and temperature. Being able to float a check on Friday for money and hoping your check deposited showed up Monday to cover it lol. This may date me, but having my girlfriend sitting next to me, on a bench seat in my vehicle while I'm driving. Good times. I like bucket seats, but I miss the closeness. Have positive dreams about the future. Grow up without the internet. When I was a little kid there were no personal computers, no internet, no devices of any kind. Our TV had 3 channels with nothing of interest to kids on during the day. In the summers before I was a teen we would spend the entirety of each day running around outside. From dawn until dusk with a brief break for lunch we were outside roaming for miles, riding bikes, exploring old tunnels, trawling the shores of the nearby river, building forts in the woods and battling other kids' forts, with fireworks or mud balls or rocks or whatever, going to the local library, begging for candy from the elderly neighborhood candy lady, while avoiding her creepy older son, playing games with the neighborhood kids, Ghost in the Graveyard, freeze tag, football, baseball, etc. Hitting the community swimming pool, basically roaming constantly over what had to have been a solid 5 square mile area. Mind you we did this at the age of 8 or so. I think now parents would be arrested if they let their kids roam like this. Back then in the 1970s no one even gave it a second thought. Just show up at the park or playground to see if any of your friends were there to hang out. No texts, no phone calls. No kind of previous arrangement whatsoever, it's just something you'd do if you were bored. Also, watching porn on a dial-up connection. I wouldn't wish that to my worst enemy. Carrying multiple 160 pounds TVs to a friend's to play 16-player Halo in the same room. They will never know the feeling of saying to yourself gee, I wonder whatever happened so and so in the 3rd grade and then just shrugging your shoulders and moving on with your day. You know they're gonna look that up. Actually be anonymous on the internet. Rushing to the bathroom and to get a snack and racing back just in time for the commercials to end. We got to grow up without cyberbullying. No matter how badly you were bullied or how you had it at school, at the end of the day you got to go home and be free for 18 hours. Now it never ends and they can get you at any time. When I turned 18 I went to the store to buy a pack of cigarettes, a scratch off and a porno. I did this just because I legally could. I didn't smoke. I didn't care about Lotto and the internet wasn't as huge as it is now. Now that the laws have changed and internet exploded and changed the games, turning 18 doesn't seem that liberating anymore. Making the perfect mixtape for a friend. Playing outside for hours on end with other kids in the neighborhood and roaming all over the place unsupervised. Boggles my mind, kids don't do that anymore. That was the whole point of childhood. Playing video games on channel 3. LimeWire. No more will desktop computers be subject to steez within a millisecond. Messing around with link cables to use multiplayer features in Game Boy games. It's still technically possible, but I'd imagine there would be too few people with Gamma Boys and link cables laying around for it to be feasible these days. Masturbating to music videos. Both waiting for a hot one and finishing in under 2 minutes. Also the frustration of them cutting from the video before it's over. I recently found out that kids nowadays use a flat hand to simulate a phone rather than their pinky and their thumb, and this saddens me. Being away from the house all day, and no one can contact you by phone nor are you expected to check in. I got to meet the captain on a commercial flight and see the cockpit when I was a kid during the flight, just a random guest on the flight. No special permissions, just a friendly crew. GL trying that today. At best you'll be told no. Worst case you get hogtied in your seat by an air marshal and arrested when the plane lands. When your battery runs low and your Walkman so your Alvin and the Chipmunks tape turns to 66 songs of Satan. Millennial here. We are digital natives. For the most part. Well, I guess it depends where you fall on the millennial spectrum. I'm an OSI 88. But basically adolescence was split in two. Pre and post internet. At least in terms of widespread use. It's wild to think we are uniquely defined by that great divide. Gen X was pre-internet. Gen Z is post. We got both. And that's really cool. Do stupid things and not let the entire world know about it. I'm 36. In America. Not turn off the video games at night so you didn't lose your place. Not rewind live TV to watch a replay. Not have to stay in your bedroom to make a phone call with your GFBF. Not use a map to look up directions somewhere. Not ask a question and fail to find an answer for something that is knowable. Not know what is happening at every moment during a day because you're in school or at a sporting event, etc. Use a phone attached to a cord. Have people not know where you are. This is underrated. Looking through a card index in the library to find books. Sit up in the morning listening to the radio to see if school was cancelled on snow days. Just yesterday my school had a Holocaust survivor speak to us and share his story. Thinking about one thing at a time. Fully focusing on things for a long time. So many more distractions and instant access now. I think looking things up in a literal dictionary. In elementary school every kid had to have a dictionary and thesaurus under our desks so that we could look up the meaning of words and how to spell the words. I'm sure now people just look it up on the computer. Life without social networking. It was great. Just driving around with no idea how to get to some places. Once one of my friends got their license we would just drive around town and eventually find our way back. Before GPS this or trying to read out maps was the only way lol. Now I turn on Google Maps for everything. Dial a phone number. You know the old phones where you have to take the number all the way around up to the top with your finger top and then almost there you release just as soon. Have fun in the neighborhood. And know it's time to go home when the street lights come on. Cartoons only being on for a limited time through the day. Around noon on Saturdays they would stop and nothing but boring stuff, to kids, would come on so we went outside lol. Seeing lighters in concerts. Always thought that was cool. Now we get of all the damn people Facebook live recording instead of living in the moment and enjoying it. Have to wait for the YouTube video to load before watching it. Losing a StarCraft ladder game because my mom picked up the phone to page my dad. Smoking in restaurants. Keeping an address book. Reading through books to find info for research papers and not just being able to Google it. Playing outside all day without parental supervision. Shopping for everything in stores. Man, this list makes me feel ancient. But I grew up in the 90s.